Hello, this is Angela Anderson. Thanks for joining me for this acrylic painting tutorial. Today I'm going to show you how to paint a waterfall with some lupine wildflowers in the front foreground. I'm going to try to keep it very simple so we can do it as a beginner level painting. And I'll be showing you step by step how to do it all the way from drawing to finished painting so you can create your own beautiful artwork. Got my husband Mark with me.
Hey there, everybody.
He's going to be man in chat for our live show, so if you've got any questions, you can post those in the chat, and we will try to get them answered while we're painting. All right, let's get started. Okay, so here's our reference photo. I got this off a Shutterstock, so I paid for the rights to use this for our video today. I really loved the composition. I liked it. It's kind of like a fisheye lens almost. It's got kind of pulls us into the center right here where the waterfall is, but it's still simple enough composition that I think it's totally doable for a beginner. It doesn't take a lot of drawing skills, so I think it'll be a good one for you guys today. I'm going to go over our palette really quick here. We've got Unbleached Titanium, Titanium White, Zinc White. That's just a transparent white, so if you don't have that one, you can still use Titanium White instead. Quinacridone Magenta, Cadmium Yellow Medium, Yellow Oxide, Phthalo Green Yellow Shade, Phthalo Blue Green Shade, Ultramarine Blue, Light Ultramarine Blue, Dioxazine Purple, Burnt Sienna, and Burnt Umber. This color is just Ultramarine Blue plus white. It's just pre-mixed, so you can just mix up a little bit extra if you don't have that color, and really just use kind of whatever colors you've got. These are just what I'm going to be using, but if you've got different colors that are similar, you can just substitute those. I'm using heavy body golden acrylics. So this one is a Liquitex color though. This one is called Titan Buff in golden. If you can't find it in the Liquitex, it's called Unbleached Titanium. So same color, just different names. All right, and it can also be mixed with some yellow oxide and white. So it's just kind of, and maybe a little bit of brown. It's just kind of an ivory brown. It gives us a good warmer white to mix with. So let me go over our brushes really quick, I guess. We've got some Princeton brushes today. These are 6100 series. So I've got a few different brights. These will be handy for the rock formations. This is number 8 bright, 6, and number 4. Then I've got a number 2 round. And then I've got a couple angle brushes. We'll probably use these for the flowers. This is 3/8 inch and a 1/4 inch angle in the Velvet Touch line, and this Princeton also. Also in the Velvet Touch, we've got some Willows blenders. This is a 1/4 inch and 3/8 inch Willows blender. You can use this. You can use, these are the Deerfoot stipplers. 3/8 inch. I've got two of the same size, 3/8 inch and 5/8 inch Deerfoot stipplers, or these ones, or a fan brush, or any other kind of scruffy type brush. So you don't have to have these exact ones, but I really like the Deerfoot stippler for like clouds and greenery. These ones are good for like a little bit more detailed work. So we'll probably be using these to maybe put in some little details on our hillsides and things. And the fan brush will be probably for the waterfall portion. So,
Sponsor.
Yes, and thank you to our sponsors, Princeton for the brushes and Fredrix for our canvas that we're using today. It's a 9 by 12 inch Pro Belgian linen canvas board, archival canvas board. It's got a nice hard core, so even though it's a thin board, it's a hard board inside, so it won't bend or warp. And it's archival, so it will last forever. Hopefully.
Forever?
As long as you don't abuse it, I'm sure.
Okay, well, we'll just have to say right now that you've already let down your fans.
Why?
Because you don't have any fingernail polish on.
I know, because I was out late last night.
Yeah.
Partying.
Partying like a rock star.
Right. Actually, they're a little dirty. They're a little mangy looking. And we may also use one of our catalyst blades. This is the number 2 mini. If you don't have this, you can use a credit card or something similar to do some of the, like a old plastic card. This one's pretty beat up. Looks like it used to be a Kroger card at one point. Some point. All right, and I'm going to try out these. I just got these some chalk markers. Somebody in my group was saying that they started using chalk markers to draw on their canvases, and it worked really well. So I was like, well, I'm going to get some, try that, and it seems to work. So we'll see how it goes. I already kind of pre-sketched a little bit, but we're going to go over it with the chalk marker so you can see it. I've just got a blue one here. This one's Cedar Market, but there's all kinds of different brands that you can find. And I'm going to add these to my Amazon store. So all the materials that we'll be using will be down in my Amazon store, amazon.com/shop/Angela Fine Art. So,
Good
and
memory.
that helps our channel, gives a little percentage
Yeah.
of any sales that we get off of merchandise you buy there.
Yeah, indirect support.
Yes, yes. And also thebrushguys.com for the Princeton brushes.
Mm-hmm.
I would get them there because they're a little more expensive on Amazon.
5% off with the code Angela Fine Art.
Right. Thank you.
Okay, go.
Okay. All right. So this upper part is, like I said, kind of a scooped shape. So we're going to start up here. It's actually going to start up before the corner, just down a little bit from the corner. And we're just going to do this kind of wiggly line down. And we're going to come down to about, if this is a quarter mark, or this is the halfway mark, this is the quarter. We're coming down almost to that quarter mark right here. And we're just going to keep on coming down. And then we're going to go up a little bit right here, about here, which is the waterfall is just a little bit off center. So this is our center mark. It's going to come down like right in here, sort of right there. And then we're going to continue wiggling, and then this is going to kind of come up this way, like that. And then there's another little section of rock that comes up like this. It kind of comes up the hill right there, like that. Okay, so you just want to leave a little space for our sky. There's really not a whole lot of sky showing in this picture. And then the next thing I want to do is kind of figure out where my foreground or my waterfall ends. So here's our halfway mark. So I'm going to come just below that, maybe a thumb's width or so below the halfway mark. And we're going to just do our kind of water line right here. And then this is going to come up just a little bit from it and slope down this way. And then it's going to do a V shape and cut into that water section. So there's just a little bit of water right here. And kind of come back this way, like that. Then this side is, so there's a little bit of a dark area, like a cave kind of, or like the, recessed section right here. It's not really a cave, I don't think, but kind of goes like this, just above the bottom part of the waterfall where it hits the water. And this part you want to be sure that's level right here. And then the water is always going to level off wherever it pools, right? It's going to be straight. So you don't want the water at an angle because that'll be weird. It wouldn't settle that way.
No, it wouldn't.
Right. I don't know. I was looking at you for confirmation of that.
Like, am I understanding physics correctly?
Right, exactly.
Okay, all right.
As far as I understand science.
Water is pretty much self-leveling.
Right. So you're always going to want it level. All right, so then we're going to have a hill that kind of comes at an angle this way. It kind of mimics this shape a little bit. Comes in like this, sort of right to where this waterfall is going to come down. If you kind of come straight down here. It's going to start right about there. It's going to go up almost to the top of this, and then it's going to level off and kind of slope back down like that. And then our foreground is going to have all of our pretty flowers. So they're all going to kind of be down in here. And they're going to come all the way up to in here. So they're going to kind of do this bowl shape as well. They're going to be lower down here and they're going to come up higher in the middle. So we're just going to put a little indication of kind of where they're starting and going to be sitting. And then this side here, it's got a section that kind of comes in as well. So these both kind of come in and then go back out this way. I am saying I do like this chalk marker. It makes it a little bit easier, and I think it's probably easier for you guys to see. So we may be using this from now on. All right, straight down here. So that's the side of the cliff face right here that we're seeing a little peekaboo. And then it's going to curve back up and do similar to this. It's going to come a little bit higher than this one here. So it's going to end up like right here and come down like that.
So I know this is your first time with the chalk marker. Is it like easily to remove, wipe off? Or?
Yeah. Let me show you that.
Well, I hope
I
you know what you're
tested it
doing.
last night.
Okay, I was going to say.
I was testing it. So you get a little bit of water.
So you came home from partying and then you tested out your
I did. I got my chalk markers out and I was testing them about 1 a.m. last night.
You're a wild woman.
Well, I was excited. I got them in the mail. I was like, oh, chalk markers. I was shaking them up, shaking them all up, getting them all primed and ready. And then, I had to get out canvas and I tested them. So you can see how easily they wipe off. They just come right off there. All these marks that I made here. So, pretty cool. Just like our chalk, we usually use, if you've watched before, I use the school chalk a lot to draw. So this is just basically the same thing in liquid form, which is kind of nice. All right, so there's our drawing. That's kind of our basic drawing. We're just going to map out our major color shapes, and then we'll block those in and get working on our details. So let me grab my brush. I think I'm going to use a number 8 bright for this, and I'm getting a little bit of water. Sorry, we don't have our water cam anymore because we still need to order our cord that went bad on us the other night.
And I haven't got off my lazy behind to order a new one.
Well, I could have ordered it too, but I forgot. I'm not exactly sure what it's called, so.
Camera cable thingy.
Right. It's about as good as it gets for me. All right, I mixed a little bit of the Phthalo blue and Ultramarine blue, about equal parts, and I've grabbed a little bit of white, and I'm always going to be pulling from the side of the puddle. I'm not going to dip my brush straight down into it, and that will keep this whole backside of it clean. It also kind of protects it from drying out too quickly, so the only part that is going to have, you're just going to always be pulling your fresh paint off of this one side, and that way you'll kind of keep the rest of your paints clean. Okay, so we'll start up here in the sky. I've mixed a little bit of white with this, so it's sort of a medium blue color, and I'm just going to kind of put it in a diagonal direction here, back and forth. And once I get that dark blue at the top there, I'm going to grab more white and mix that in while that's wet, and keep grabbing more white. Go right up to my chalk line there. And I want to do this quickly so that that blue doesn't dry out. If it does dry out, we can always add more blue to it, so that's not a big deal. But if we can get it done while it's wet, then we don't have to do extra steps. Get some white here, just tapping it in along that line there, and then I'm just going to kind of pull from that wet paint up, and always kind of trying to keep that same direction in my brush strokes. So if there are streaks, that'll just look like we meant to do that, and we do want streaks in there, so we did mean to do that. Like that, see? And just keep on going. These ones kind of come down a little bit more like this. Kind of come down this way and sweep back up. I'm seeing sort of this undersides of some of these clouds. So I'm going to grab a little bit more white and just tap in a little bit thicker parts. And now I can grab my Deerfoot stippler. I'm going to grab that white and I'm going to tap in some cloud shapes. The key with the Deerfoot is just to kind of load the tip of it more with more paint than the base, so that you can kind of control it a little bit and don't add too much paint at any one time. That way you want to keep these clouds wispy. You don't want them to be like solid white blocks of color. So you want to be able to see through and just have them be kind of soft and fluffy. Okay, that's good. We're not going to put in too much detail in the clouds there, but I think that that'll be good enough. What?
Okay, so Frank says the lesson title promotes lupine flowers. Does that mean wolf-like or wolfy flowers? And what the heck are they?
Lupine, isn't that the right name? Did I not name them right? I think that they're the purple spiky flowers.
Are you asking me?
Pretty sure that those are the name. We'll look at Google it, make sure I didn't put it down wrong. That would be embarrassing.
I'm gonna
Do it.
I'm gonna fact check.
Fact check it. Do it.
I know you YouTubers, you can't be trusted sometimes.
Thought that was the name of them, but all right, I'm going to grab some burnt umber now. I'm just going to add it to this blue. It's kind of a pretty color. It'll make a kind of a
Okay.
little bit softer brown.
All right, you're lucky.
They are.
Yep. Blue lupine or sweet blue lupine.
Yep.
It is a plant in the legume family.
Ooh. Oh, it does look like a pea pod almost, these little sections here. Looks like a sweet pea. All right, I'm using this brush. It's almost too big for this section, but we're just going to make it work. We're going to start blocking in the browns. Like I said, I've just kind of added some of that blue to this brown because I had it in my brush already and I didn't want to have to clean it out. And this kind of gives it a softer brown look. And I want to cover up my chalk lines, so I'm going to go ahead and go right up over any chalk lines that I'm seeing. Make sure that I get all of those covered, and I'm just sort of wiggling my brush as I go along here so that I get kind of a rough, uneven edge at the top, sort of rock-like. Just sort of setting it down and sort of wiggling it as I pull it.
So all the brushes that we're using
Yes.
are available from the brush guys.
Yes.
Down below you can hit the show more, or if you're watching on a mobile device, there's like a little down arrow, open the list of all the paints and brushes.
Right.
And with the brush guys link, you can get in there in Angela's suggested list, and also 5% off of the brush guys with the
Yes.
Angela Fine Art code.
Yes.
So we've had some people pop in and ask where they could get brushes. So
Oh, yes.
that's where we're at.
Yep.
And
Yep.
we opened the show with a new product, the chalk marker.
Chalk marker.
Dun, dun, dun. And
This is Cedar brand, but I'm gonna go ahead and I'll put these in my Amazon store listing. So
Yeah,
if you want to, they were on the reason I got them is they were on the Prime deal. They were like $10 for the whole big box of them, and they came with like a little thing of labels too. So I think I'm gonna have some labels all over the studio now.
and it's a multi-pack, right? Because
there was 12 colors in there.
How many?
12.
12.
Mm-hmm.
Wow.
For $10, so that's not bad. Less than $1 a marker. I could do math there. I did my math.
12 divided by 10. Okay, hold on. Let me get my shoes off here.
Carry the
I
one
gotta get my shoes off. Just a second.
so you can do your math better.
Yeah.
With your shoes off. I didn't know that helped. I'll have to try that next time.
Yeah. It's like when you turn the radio down when you're lost in the car so you can, find your way better.
I don't know what you're talking about now.
If you're driving along, the radio's playing loud, and then, you don't know exactly where you're going, you
Right.
turn the radio down so you can, find the road better.
Okay.
It's a thing.
Okay. If you say so. Grab some burnt sienna down here. This very area down here is a little bit more reddish.
Just wait. You'll see next week.
Okay.
Okay, Frank did the math. It's 83 1/3 cents each.
Nice. Plus free labels. And this little tool that takes out the nibs, I guess, for you. I'm not sure. I haven't really figured it out, but it's supposed to, I guess, take the tips off if you need to replace them. So I'm definitely going to lose this tomorrow. It's probably gonna, it's when I need to replace my nibs. I'm like, what did I do with that thing? It will not, it will not go well, I can tell you right
Or
now.
you'll find it and go, what's this for?
Yeah, exactly.
I don't know. I don't need it.
I have no, I don't know what that is. It'll get lost. And soon. All right, I'm going with a little bit more green down here because this is going to have kind of a green base back in here. So this is the section that's kind of that caved in area behind the waterfall. And you notice I kind of stayed a little bit light up here, and then as I got down, I got a little bit darker. This area is the darkest here. And then we'll get a little bit lighter as we get down here, but this area here is going to be more kind of saturated color in the middle. Clean that out.
Frank suggested that it would be a good tool to get the chips out of the salsa jar. Dig them out, so.
That's a good idea.
So it's not a unitool.
I kind of like it.
Yeah.
That happens. It does happen. I love it. Okay, mixing the ultramarine here with some of my yellow oxide to get kind of a olivey green. I've got a little bit of olivey green. There's another color for you, honey, for our list.
Olivey green?
Olivey green.
Okay, I'll write that down. Hold on a sec. Get some paper out. Golden is going to be busy making all these paint colors. So, salmony, olivey green, Angela's favorite gray.
Dirty white.
Dirty white, yeah. The original Cad blue.
Cad blue that started it all. All right, here we go. It has some of the phthalo green yellow shade in it too. We probably ought to write down what colors are in the colors too, so when we're totally joking. This is not going to actually happen, but it is pretty fun to
Oh, no, it will.
make up our own list of
It's gonna
colors.
They just don't know it yet.
Okay. So Cad blue would be the ultramarine blue and the phthalo blue together, I think. 'Cause I think that's what that was. I think it was an accident that I didn't mean to say it that way, but it came out that way. All right, so we're just putting in our green here. And then as I get down here, I'm going to add more yellow. Some more yellow down in here. You can see I'm not being particularly careful, but I am kind of going in the direction that the grasses are kind of growing that I'm seeing. So this one is kind of sloping this way, and these ones are going to be more horizontal lines. This one is going to be sloping this way, and then down at the bottom it's also going to be kind of horizontal. All right. And down here at the base, I'm going to add a little bit of burnt umber to my green. Go pretty dark. There's some really dark areas down in here. We want to put in the dark first, and then we can put our highlights on over the top. Having this dark area underneath will give us more contrast and more oomph when we put our light colors on top. It'll really be dramatic and pretty. If you look at our picture here, we've got lots of little dark, almost black areas in here. So that's what we're putting in right now. Just getting those really dark areas. Yeah, this I'm just kind of doing, slapping it on here. Back and forth, doesn't have to be any particular style up in here. I might grab some purple. Do some purple back in here. All right, and then the water is really kind of a brownish color. So I'm gonna add Ultramarine Blue and Burnt Umber, and that's my gray that I like to make. And I'm just gonna make that kind of gray. Go side to side. Remember, we want this part level here. Okay. Do that part in there brown. And now I just want to go in and touch up if I see any white spots or any areas where the chalk's still showing or anything like that. Just gonna make sure that it's all covered. Maybe put in some shadow area there. Maybe a little bit on here. See, this is starting to get sticky, and if I was to add water to it at this point, which I don't want to do, but if I added water to it, once it's starting to dry, it'll lift. It'll come right off the canvas. So you just have to be careful with acrylics. You don't want to mess with them too much while they're drying. We'll give them time to settle. This stuff up here is pretty dry. This part I can see is still a little bit wet, but I think we can work with it. So let me see what brush. I think I'm going to go ahead and use this. We'll see how this does. I'm going to grab got my scraping tool, whatever you choose to use. Credit card, spatula, palette knife. This is the number 2 mini blade here. And I'm going to grab some burnt umber and mix that in with the unbleached titanium. Kind of a soft brown color. And this is actually gonna kind of follow the outline of this. So if you look at this and kind of keep it about the same distance away, we're gonna kind of do this sort of diagonal line through here. And I load up my scraper, whatever, kind of push it flat, right? And then you scrape through so you get like a bead of paint right along that edge right there. So kind of push it flat and then just kind of scrape it through and you'll get like a bead of paint there. And that gives us something to work with. And we're going to lay it kind of at a, I don't know what this angle, 45 degrees maybe angle, and scrape it. So it's going to be catching the canvas texture. And really scraping is about the only thing that I've found that does this as well. It just kind of gives it that kind of natural look. It catches on the texture of the canvas, but it leaves all these kind of interesting, natural looking kind of shapes and things. So I'm going to keep on doing that. Let's go all the way around here, and then this side we're going to kind of come up this direction a little bit.
So those who are busy chatting and not paying attention, what did you mix up with the unbleached?
Burnt umber and
Okay.
And unbleached titanium.
And it's good to know we are about a half hour into the show, and YouTube is sending out notifications that you're live.
Ah, nice.
Yeah.
Okay. Well, that was nice of them.
Thank you, YouTube. I'm glad it's not just us. We're watching
No.
other larger channels, and they have the same complaints.
Yeah. Yeah. Yeah, I'm going to pull down, straight down in some places. So. This is a kind of a medium to light brown, so it's fairly light. Just want enough of a contrast. We don't want to go to our really, really bright yet, because we're going to need to save that for some highlight work, but it's looking pretty good, I think. So let's add some burnt sienna. Let's grab some burnt sienna, mix that in down here. We'll just mix it with the color we already been working with. We'll add some of that down here. Work it up. You can see some areas right here, it's got like solid burnt sienna. So I like that. Let's do some of that too. In there. And these rock layers are kind of, levels. So if we kind of do these colors in sort of stripes almost, it'll kind of look a little bit more natural, So just kind of pick an area and create your little pockets of color. I'm going to grab burnt umber now. Do the same thing with burnt umber. Add some of this, and you can see this is going to be really dramatic. So we're going to add all these kind of dark pockets now. So we have kind of a medium brown base, and that way we can do dark and light on top of it, like we're doing here, and get some really good contrast going.
Okay, inquiring minds would like to know, how hard are you pushing down?
Pretty hard. In some places, it depends on how much paint's on my spatula. When I have a lot of paint on there, I don't have to push as hard. But, when I'm in some of these areas where once it's kind of starting to come off my tool here, I'm definitely pressing down pretty hard.
So not like frosting a cake, you're really pushing down.
Right. Okay. Yeah, no, not quite as... I'm going to get some kind of sideways action going here. Let's just kind of scrape it side to side. I want it fairly dark underneath my water, and that'll going to give it, again, we want contrast where my water is going to go. So I'm going to go back in here and pretty darken up that area that's going to be right under my water. Add some little spots where little things are happening in here. And this is coming off the knife pretty well, so I'm not having to do too much work. You can kind of scrape through it too to give it some lines if you want to. All right. Grab some of that green down under here. I'm going to do some of the green. Oops, that's supposed to be brown. All right.
Okay, they would like to know that today they noticed that you did not start with any undercoats painting on your canvas. So
Right.
How do you determine when is a good time to do an undercoat and not?
Well, if there's this painting had a lot of different colors, so like I didn't want to really do an undercoat because I didn't want to mess with having to cover over any colors for my blue sky. If I did any undercoat, it probably would have been a yellow oxide because the yellow oxide works pretty well under a sky, under blues for sky. So that would have been, but yeah, yellow oxide would have been my choice if I was going to do something because it's earthy enough. It would have looked good under all the rocks and everything. But there's really, I don't know. I have no idea. I
whatever
approach
mood
each
you're
painting
in.
differently. It just kind of tells me what to do. So what? Oh, Mark.
The painting talks to you?
The picture does.
Oh, the picture does.
Yeah.
Huh.
Okay. I don't know why I even try to explain myself.
Hey, you art people are pretty awesome.
I know, he just rolled his eyes big time at me, so I'm not going to try to explain it to you anymore.
Well, no,
You
you're
hurt my
explaining it to them.
All right. I'm going to mix yellow oxide, phthalo green, and then I've got some of my unbleached titanium here. And this is going to be my moss color. So I'm going to use got my 6 Bright now because I want a little bit more control. And I'm just going to tap it in. I might a little bit darker so that I can get some dark color in some places too. Here we go. This is all kind of mossy color covered rocks, so I'm just going to kind of pick some ledges, and I'm barely tapping with this. Just tap, 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 keeping it kind of horizontal.
Sometimes my stomach speaks to me.
Right. So you get it.
Yes.
Okay. That didn't sound very convincing there.
No, I mean, I understand that you personally are able to look at something and see it completely different than I do.
Right.
You honestly do have that eye to look beyond just the surface of, oh, it's blue.
Right.
You know, I think you have like superpowers or something. It's kind of like the Matrix. Do you see a bunch of green numbers and letters
blue
following?
Pill right here. Is this the blue pill or the red pill?
So it's just like all these green numbers, letters falling down in front of you.
Right, right. Yeah. Here again, I'm kind of doing these sort of horizontal-ish, but they're kind of coming at an angle slightly because they're coming in right here. So let's get a little bit brighter here. Some of these sections are pretty bright through here. Very light touches. If I do it light enough, then I get sort of similar texture. You can see how it's kind of catching, just like we were doing with the spatula. We're kind of using our brush like a spatula almost, and just kind of very lightly skimming it to get this color to come off in little sections. A bit at a time. There we go. It's looking good. I like it. So this actually kind of almost merges in with this hillside. So I'm going to bring this color right up to that green hill there. There's not really a hard line in between. It kind of just merges right up into that hill on this side. There's a lot of moss on that. side there. It's pretty. I like it. Okay, so let's continue using this moss color. And we're just going to start laying in some greenery on here. And I'm going to do the same. Going to just do little swipes with this to make it look grassy. Get some of that sort of medium to dark value. Yellow oxide, phthalo green. We could use a stippler at this point if we wanted to, so I could stipple this in if I wanted a little extra texture. So I might do that in some spots where I want it to be kind of fuzzy looking. Like that. Get some of the lighter color, tap that in.
So, you probably said it, but so the painting spatulas, they're still available in the Brush Guys link?
Yes.
Okay.
They should be.
I do remember the first show that you used them in, they sold out.
They did, I know. Yeah. I know, I need to do another painting with them. They were really fun. Fun to use. Okay, so I'm doing kind of like little sections. Do a little light color with the dark color behind it. It'll give it a little bit of contrast, give it some illusion of depth. Doing that just immediately, it pushes that back, field farther back there. So let's do some greenery along here. This is that kind of darkish version here. So just tap in some of that. And then I'll use the light color. To tap in some highlights here. Create some planes of depth. So this one's going to have kind of a section right here that's coming out this way. Right up to the water. Let's do the same thing on this side. Then we can also kind of use it to scrape side to side. Get a little bit more coverage that way. This area right here that's just in front of the flowers is a little bit lighter, so I want to make sure that this gets some light color right through here. It's almost like it's misty, right? So this will give us some contrast from behind, for underneath or in front of our flowers. Or no, not in front, behind our flowers. Oh, see, it's lifting off the color right there. I scrubbed too hard. It's not sticking. That's weird. It was still drying, that's why, probably. Just doing it too much while it's drying. Stop. Okay. Just stick. I'll leave you alone in a second. Just make sure you're sticking. So see, it's doing it right there too. That's weird. Okay, well that wasn't dry yet.
You didn't have the pep talk with your paints before the show.
I know, I didn't. I was like, you're not behaving right.
We may not use you next show if you keep acting up like this.
I know. Well, it just happens when you know, when you're messing with it, it's not dry yet, so it just will lift. It'll stick to anything that's, you know, touching it. And if your brush is touching it, it'll stick to your brush. So, okay, we'll grab in some of the burnt sienna, some of this green over here, and I'm just going to add some little rocks into our hillside. Tap in right along this section where it's kind of coming down to the water. There's some little sections of rock and things happening. Same thing right here. And then there's like a railing right here. I'm not going to actually draw that in, but I am going to kind of put some brown in right here. Okay, I don't want to mess with that too much because it's going to lift on me. All right, then I want to do a little highlight on the front side of this little rock right here. So I'm just going to grab a little bit of unbleached titanium with that brown on my brush. There, grab some more brown, burnt umber, make sure that I have a dark shadow right up underneath where it's coming down. Okay. And then grab some more of this color, and there's some of this green underneath here. So I want to connect the green underneath the hill into this cave area, but I don't want to go too light in here. I want to keep it pretty dark. So I am going to do a little bit of green, but it's not going to be as bright as it is up here, over here.
So Mary said that when she paints and it starts getting sticky, she can hear your voice saying, "Don't paint there. It will lift."
Good. Good.
It's like the Angela sitting on her shoulder. Yeah. Don't do it.
Don't do it.
Don't give in to the temptation.
You can see even I do. The only reason I know to tell you that is because I've done it enough times to know it's just it's a losing proposition. So I'm just trying to help you avoid the same mistakes I've done multiple times. All right, so this is not looking far enough away, so I think I'm going to add a little bit of brown to my green over here. This is that moss green color. I'm just going to add some sections of darker green on our hill to hopefully kind of help push back that section there. All right, there we go.
Jennifer said that, could we do a muddy stream someday? Because she's good at mixing that color.
Yeah. That's good.
Okay, I'm going to promise everybody a stickman appearance today. It's been a couple weeks.
What? Oh, a couple weeks. Okay.
Yeah,
I've got Stickman coming up. Okay, let's just do them right now while
now.
we're thinking about it.
All right. Wow. Boom. Nobody expects the Stickman.
You asked for it. I'm going to get some water. I'm going to get some white here. We're just going to give him a waterfall right back in here.
People who have never seen Stickman before, well, this is just something fun to do.
Yeah. He's just our little kind of mascot.
It's my Stickman creation that Angela
There we go. He's got himself a waterfall back there now.
Paint something in the theme of what we're doing that week.
That's not a football. That's a boat.
It's a boat with the papples.
Yeah, on them. That looks like a rose or
bees,
something.
octopus.
Really wish that I'd made the octopus coming up over the side attacking the boat. That would have been pretty good. Doing a kraken. Cool. I just didn't think of it at the time. Beehive. There. Yeah. You can. It's kind of a. There's our birds.
A walk through time.
Series. Yeah, a walk through time. There's our llama with the tassel. Which we didn't put on our actual llama. But we did on our picture. Yeah. A lot of fun. Just yeah, you're right. It says walk through time. You're like, oh, I remember that. And that. All right. So let's put in some white water on our water here. Just like mix in some of that gray that was our, well, it's dry. Let's grab some more of that ultramarine and more burnt umber. I'm already out. And some white. So it's just a little bit of blue, a little bit more on the blue than the brown side. And I didn't want to go fully blue, bright blue, because it's just not that way in our picture. So we're just going to try to keep it kind of close to the original. And I'm just going to go side to side with my angle brush. This is a 3/8 inch angle. I'm setting it almost flat on that. You know, it's just barely touching, and I've got the angle sort of pointing down slightly more than the side, so that the angle is kind of, the tip is what's catching the canvas, and dragging it side to side here to get some texture. A little bit more of the ultramarine blue and brown. A little bit darker this time. Wipe off the extra. And I'm just going to kind of do the same thing with it. Side to side. Got a little bit of that lighter color. And just right along that upper edge, just make sure I've got a good straight line right there. Okay, so here we go. It might be a little too blue. I don't know. Grab some more of that brown and put a little bit of the brown in there. Okay. There we go. And we grab some of that green and just tap it in so that it's kind of going right up over the water in some places right there. Kind of obscuring the shoreline a little bit, making it kind of fuzzy. That. Okay. Good. All right. I may have to have you dry this, honey. It's still pretty sticky, I think, because it's kind of went on pretty thick. Well, now I don't have anything to do while you're drying that. I did a stick mat already.
Did last week's stick mat.
What was last week? Let me see. Oh, we did the mountain stream last week. That was the... So we can give them a stream, I guess. A stream that's coming down with our boat. Our boat's sitting on. some rocks. Okay, it's getting to be a mess now. Good enough. We'll give him some flowers too, because we had a lot of flowers last week. So it's kind of sitting on the shore there. This may be the last, unless we do something up here in the sky next time. We may not have any room for anything else on our stickman guy. We'll give him some white water. There we go. So our boat's kind of sitting next to the stream. And then for some reason there's a wave over here by itself. So I don't know. I kind of like the face on this one. If you are not wanting to draw, if you don't like to draw and you are just like, I would really like to do this project, but I don't want to have to draw it, then I do have traceables available on my Patreon page. So that's patreon.com/AngelaFineArt. And they're $1 a month for unlimited downloads. And you can just get one and cancel. You don't have to like keep it, you know. It'll give you a full month. So if you're if you're joining now, it'll end on August 1st. You'll have to reapply next month. So you know, if you know you're going to want it for a whole month, you might wait till August 1st to sign up, and then you'll have it for all of August. So it's not by 30 days. It doesn't count the days. It does it by month. So unfortunately, I wish it did it differently, but it doesn't. All right, so I'm using the liner brush, and now I'm using a little bit of white with my Unbleached Titanium here, just to make it a little bit brighter. I'm adding some highlights to some of these sections of rock. Just a few. It doesn't need to be a lot, but just some of these a little bit brighter. And I'm just kind of setting it down and scraping it, just kind of like what we did with the spatula. Just using my brush sort of like the spatula and just kind of lightly skimming it on this canvas to get some little textured areas. I don't know if I like that. Might have done too much over here.
So I was just thinking that double stickman is way better than double rainbow.
Is it?
Of course, it's much more rare than a double rainbow.
That's true. It is more rare. Very true. All right, so let's tap in some flowers on our hillside over here. There's some little white flowers and some yellow flowers. So I'm going to use my fan brush to do that and just tap in. Little sections of kind of horizontal patches. And then we can use some yellow to kind of give it more of a, make them look more floral. Maybe we could do pink here if we wanted to. We could do any color you wanted to, really. We're just kind of adding just a little detail. If you watched last week's, you could see kind of how we did our hillside on last week's. We added a bunch of flowers to it. So if you wanted to go for it and do something like that, that would be cool too. It's a little bit farther away, so I just kind of caution you not to do big flowers way back here, because then it'll look weird, because it'll pull that whole section forward. The bigger your flower, the closer it's going to be to you, so you're not going to have, you know, ginormous flowers sent way up here on the hillside that's supposed to be farther away from you. So just keep that in mind when you're, you know, putting in your details, that the ones that are closer to us are going to be bigger. The ones farther down here are going to be the largest sections. The ones that are farther away back in here are going to be tiny, tiny, tiny. So we're not going to see any of the details of the actual individual flowers. So that's why we're kind of just tapping here to get some, like, flowers happening up there, maybe. All right, I think that's good. So I think I'm going to use this brush. This is the, well, let me see. Let's use this one, 1/4 inch. I'm going to start with the Zinc White here. And I'm going to put in my spray. So I've got just a little bit of paint on my brush. I'm going to start scrubbing right along that bottom edge there where the water's hitting the water, right? The waterfall's hitting the edge of the water. I'm going to have kind of a straight line of white, and I'm just very little paint on here, just setting it down with the Zinc White and kind of scrubbing up. It'll add this kind of foamy spray to that area, and I'm just going to go ahead and do it all the way down here. I'm going to scrub side to side on top of my water here to kind of obscure it. This whole area is kind of foggy. And I'm going to go ahead and use a bigger brush here, the Deerfoot, the big Deerfoot. And I'm going to scrub some of that spray in front of my water and my hills. If you don't have Zinc White, which is transparent, you will need to add quite a bit of water to your white, your Ultramarine Titanium White. Sorry, can't use my words. Might even add just a tiny, tiny touch of blue, tiny. Phthalo blue here. Yeah, that's pretty. And I'm just going to kind of scrub in a circular motion right along that borderline between the flowers and the water in the foreground, in the background sections. So, but like I said, if you don't have the Zinc White, you can use glazing liquid to help thin out your white, or water, and then lots of, I'm tapping off the extra paint because I don't want a lot of paint on here. If you have too much paint, it'll just go on solid and that'll kind of ruin the effect. So we just want it to kind of swirl up like that. See that? Now it looks like it's kind of misty. Everything's sort of cloudy and misty. So you can see why we need to go really dark back here, because otherwise it would just, it'd be too light in front of our flowers. So I think we're good there. Clean that out. And I'm going to keep on with this brush. Let's see how it does with our waterfall. And I'll go ahead and grab that, a little bit of that phthalo blue to use with it too. Just a little, the tiniest little bit is gonna do a lot. So we don't need a great deal of it. I'm gonna wipe most of it off here. And I'm gonna pick a few different, yeah, that'll work. A few different places. So there's one there, there's one here. Just kind of starting to develop where we want our waterfall here. The see-through part will help give that illusion of the water being transparent. So just build this up slowly. My dog's scratching. Trying to get comfortable. Okay, so just kind of picked a few little sections there where I want that water to come down. And I'm going to grab some of the titanium white. And this waterfall has these kind of ripples in it, so I'm just going to kind of wiggle as I come down so that it's kind of not a solid color. Let's do that. Why don't you zoom way in, hon? Okay, actually, before I do this, let's go ahead and take a picture. Go back.
Going out.
Sorry, I forgot to take a picture before we did the...
You ready?
Yep. Okay, good. Now zoom in. All right. Okay. So I want to go right up to the top there. Start up there, and then I'm going to lightly just drag it and wiggle as I go. So I'm getting this kind of broken line of water that looks like it's coming down in sheets. See that? And I want to make sure that I connect it all the way up to the top. So let's do it down here. My dog is making all kinds of noise all of a sudden. Thank you, Scooter, for that. That's lovely. What do you need, Scoots?
I'm just appreciative for him because it makes me look good.
What do you want? What are you doing? You're making all kinds of noise. You want to say hi? Speak? Hi, yes. Good boy. Okay. Good boy.
Thank you.
Oh, I know. All right, so I'm going to come out a little ways on this side, just a little bit this way. And then as I come down, I'm going to wiggle. Kind of do these sort of V shapes in it. So and then at the bottom here, I'm just going to kind of tap in. A little bit at the bottom there. Don't want to go too heavy too quickly, so I'm really taking my time, going very, very lightly with this. Don't have too much paint on my brush, so I'm wiping it off here if I need to. Up and down. This whole section is almost solid white right here, so be a little bit thicker with the paint. Okay, so let's do this side here. This one's a little bit more faint. I want to go right up to the rock there. And as it's coming down, it's coming straight down. Right? Once it's, you can kind of start out at an angle a little bit, but then once you kind of, gravity hits it, it's going to kind of start coming straight down here.
So would you say the trick to waterfalls is layering?
Yeah, layering and not too much paint on your brush at one time. You know, just kind of taking your time to sort of doing it. Kind of slowly building up. Let's see, yeah, there's one like right here. It's actually kind of coming out of the rock in some of these places here. I don't like this side as much. I feel like I got too much. Let me see if I can get that off. Yeah, I don't want that one. Okay, that's better. If you catch it while it's wet, you can kind of make adjustments to it. That's the nice thing about acrylics. So the bottom layer is dry, so you can wipe off the top layers if you decide you want to make a change, as long as you catch it while it's still wet. Okay, let's bring this one out a little bit. Just kind of widens out as it comes down. There we go. Okay. Go ahead and zoom out there. We'll see how this looks. Not bad. Okay. We'll let that dry and we'll see. We might want to make some additions to it later, but for now I'm going to leave it. Actually want to bring this over. Oh, I see that. This comes out a little bit more. Let's add our flowers.
So you're using the angle brush still?
Yeah, I'm going to use the angle brush here. And grab some of the cadmium yellow. Yellow oxide. And I added a little bit of phthalo blue to it. And I'm going to come up from the bottom and just going to create some little stems for our flowers to go on. If I push my brush flat and use that straight edge and just kind of run it vertical, I can get some straight lines with it. Let's bring these up way up. These sides up here are going to be a little higher, so bring it up a little high on the sides. And then down here, I'm going to grab some more of that yellow, a little bit of the Unbleached Titanium. And I'm going to create some, maybe a little bit more yellowy. Create some little leafy sections here, just sort of tapping in, and The leaves are kind of these, they look like fingers almost. So I'm just going to do this kind of little dabs of color, leaving some of the darker color in between. Most of this is going to be purple flowers, but I do want a little bit of this green kind of peeking in here and there. So I'm just going to do a little bit of this. Just using the tip of my brush to kind of create some little shapes. Excuse me. I'm going to switch to a little bit smaller, the angle brush, the 1/4 inch this time, and grab my Quinacridone Magenta. Come on, it's all getting sticky over here. It's been sitting by itself for a while. And some of the purple, mix of yellow, violet, or not yellow. I was thinking I touched the yellow, but I didn't. Magenta and purple, kind of violet color. Here, a little bit on the reddish side. So just a touch of purple, mostly the quinacridone. There we go. Press that flat. Most of it off there, and I'm going to use this again to draw some stems for my flowers. And start figuring out where I want to put them. Okay, so I want to leave a little space between some of these. So I don't want to go too close together with these. Some of these ones in the background are going to be pretty close together and smaller. I'm going to have a couple, one big one there, one big one here, another big one right here. These are actually coming all the way up to here. Okay. I'm just going to put some random ones kind of all in between here in the middle sections. These are going to be the stems for our flowers. So wherever we put one of these, we're going to put a flower. So like I said, just make sure that you kind of layer them. Some of them are going to be bigger, some are going to be shorter. So the ones that are closer to us are going to be bigger, obviously, and the ones back here are going to be really short little lines. Alright, let's grab our purple here and our little light ultramarine blue. Load both of them on my brush here at the same time. So I've got kind of both colors on here. I'm just going to point this tip straight down and tap to create my little flowers shapes. Some of these are just going to be kind of almost little lines almost. You're not going to really see the individual petals, so you don't have to get real fancy with some of these in the background yet. Let's grab some ultramarine blue and do some of that too. Some of these. keeping it very small. I'm going to do these small ones first that are sort of in the farther away. Find those stems and go over the top of them. The greenery in the stem sections. Okay. Just tapping up and down. All right, and in here we're not really seeing the really far ones because these ones are kind of more in front, so they're covering most of that up. So what I do, can put in some bigger daubs as I get down to the bottom. I'm gonna press a little harder, get a little bit bigger dots coming off my brush, going on either side of the stems that I created. This is going to be dark, so you're not going to really see a whole lot of detail with this yet. We're still kind of in the darker colors. Right, let's go ahead and do some of these in here. Okay. This is the Ultramarine Blue. It's got a little bit of that pink and purple in it too, from the stem color. So it's a little bit of everything here. Kind of filling in and using this to sort of lay some foundation for some of our other colors that are going to go on top. All right, so I'm just kind of filling in most of it, getting these far flowers done. Okay, good. All right, so now let's grab some white. Mix that in. Okay. You tap in some light pink in some places here. Keeping it small, this background area. Some of these are kind of pink. Some of them are more blue, some are more purple, some more kind of fuchsia. So we can have any number of these different colors happening in here. So just kind of trying to create some little grab that ultramarine blue. Try to get some really dark ultramarine in a couple places here. So the shape is going to be tiny on the top, right? Little dots. And then as we get down to the bottom, we're going to kind of go side to side and widen it, can't say that word. Widen it out. Let's grab some purple. We'll do one of these over here. So tap just straight dots at the top, right? Just a few. And then pretty quickly it starts to widen out, and then it stays just about the same width all the way down. So like that. Okay. Let's do this one with a little bit more blue in it. Tap, 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 widen. Right, then I'm going to grab some white and go over the top of some of these. Add some highlight. Like that. On there, gonna wipe that off.
So how you doing over there?
Getting a magenta here. I'm doing good. How are you doing?
Doing good.
Just in my happy place right now. I'm painting flowers.
I know. Kind of like the whole world disappeared.
Yeah. That's kind of how it feels sometimes. I do have people say that painting helps them with their anxiety, and I had a really nice comment from a lady saying, you know, how much painting has helped her anxiety, you know. And I've actually talked to one of my patrons who is a counselor, and she does therapy, you know, with folks, art therapy, and you know just how much art can help with things like anxiety and such, because it brings you into kind of a different brain space almost, you know. It does take you out of your reality and kind of allows you to focus on something so intently, you know, that you lose track of everything else that is, you know, causing you issues, problems, and anxieties. So it's pretty cool. I used to say all the time that when my boys were little, painting kept me sane. Definitely think it's true. You get 3 little boys, you're taken care of. Anything that helps take your mind off of that. Get you out of the mommy zone and into some creative space. Using the different colors, I'm just kind of alternating. You can see I'm not using the same color every time. Just going to try to alternate and do kind of interesting different things here. But I need to make sure that I've got enough highlight on top so you can kind of see where one starts and the other stops. So I'm going to add a little bit of lighter color to this one to kind of pop it forward. See? Let's do the same thing with this one.
Somebody asked if would a round brush work and what you're
Yeah,
doing here.
absolutely. Round brush would work just fine.
So it kind of comes down to whatever you're more comfortable with.
Right. Yeah, totally. I'll show you what it looks like with the round brush.
Man, boom, just like that. She snaps into action.
So that's with the round brush.
How about a square brush?
Yeah, square brush, you'd use a corner of it, like a...
How about a squashed oval?
The Filbert? Filbert's probably too big for this. For these little dot things that we're trying to do here. Grabbing a little bit more of that purple. They're also a little bit darker at the bottom, and then they get a little bit lighter at the top, so you can kind of keep that in mind too. You can do the bases of the flowers a little bit darker and lighten them up as they get toward the top. One of my moderators, Kelly, said this was her favorite flower. She sent me some pictures. So I still might do a whole nother set of them a little bit more up close because they're such a pretty flower. But they grow, and she lives in Canada, and they grow up in her area where she lives. I'm very jealous. Like like a weed almost on the side of the roads and stuff. They're just like everywhere. She sent me pictures.
Oh, then we would do really well with those. That's about all we can get to grow.
What?
Weeds.
Right, we would do really well with them. We'd have them growing all over the place in our yard.
Grass only grows in the planters.
That's about the truth.
It doesn't grow in the yards, but okay.
No, it'll grow wherever you don't want it to be. Yeah. That's Mark's frustration right there talking. Maybe you need to paint, get away from the stress of gardening, battling your weeds.
That's what video games are for.
Oh, that's true. That's your stress relief. We all need something, don't we?
Yep. Kind of the get away from it all for a little while.
Get away from adulting.
Yeah, but books, I can't recommend reading. Just saying. That's too much work.
Yeah, Mark's not a book guy. That's my thing. Okay, so just taking our time here, kind of adding the highlights in now. We're putting a lot of detail into these, just trying to get them kind of realistic looking. Let's add more of our ultramarine over here on this side. I'm going to go switch back to the angle brush. I like the angle brush a little bit better just because I can get smaller dots with it. A little bit more control. The round brush kind of depends on the tip, So if you look at this one, you're not going to get a real tiny dot with it. But the angle brush, it'll hold more paint. So you won't have to reload as often as you would if you used a brush like this that had a tiny tip like this. That makes sense. So add the light ultramarine blue here. Pretty. I just got paint on my pants. I have a bad habit of putting my hands under my legs while I'm painting, and I end up with paint on the back of my legs.
At least you know where it comes from.
Well, that's true. Yeah.
You know, like, how did I get paint there?
Yeah.
Okay, yeah, I know now. All right, check.
Yeah. I don't wear anything to the studio that I don't want to get paint on. I've learned that the hard way. It's like I put it on, I'm like, do I want to get paint on this? And if the answer is no, I take it off, put something else on.
Yeah, I mean,
Because it doesn't matter how hard I try, I will get paint on it.
We'll go clothes shopping, and she'll go to the men's clearance rack and buy the largest long sleeve shirt she can find that's on clearance, you know, for $4 or $5 and new painting shirt.
Hey, they work good. Big men's shirts. I don't wear them on the videos very much because they don't film very well. They look really weird. They have big cuffs, you know, like huge cuffs on my arm. They look really weird. But I used to wear them a lot. Not as much anymore. Okay, some of them bringing all the way down to the foreground here. So you notice that I'm keeping the ones in the background here a little bit darker, a little bit less defined. I'm only putting the, you know, really bright highlights on these ones that are forward. That will define them a little bit better and pull them into the foreground. Okay. So pretty. So happy. I know I'm weird. It's okay. You can get away with being pretty weird when you're an artist. That's one of the nice things.
So that's why you chose a profession, huh?
I did.
To kind of cover up?
Already weird, yeah. And it was just like, I'm going to be weird. At least I can kind of get away with it if I do art.
Yeah, that's the ticket.
Yep.
I'm an artist. That's
it's funny. We sat next to these people. The people we didn't know who they, you know, hadn't met them before, but we kind of sat at a table last night watching music, and you know, when somebody asked me what I do for a living, so it's very entertaining. I really always enjoy it. So they're like, "You do what?" What were you gonna say?
Oh, I said that's okay. You can be weird. I love you anyways.
Oh, thank you. Sweet. You pretty much knew what you were getting into when you were dating. I was doing art when we were dating, so
true.
Starting to.
True.
I actually really didn't start it until we were dating. Now that I think about it, because I didn't do it.
You were needing that place to get away from it all. Is that what you're saying? Mm-hmm.
I didn't need it until I met you. And then, like,
I didn't need to escape reality
exactly.
until I met you.
Until I started dating you. And then I was like, oh, God, so help me. That's awesome.
The truth is revealed.
It's way before we had kids, wasn't it?
Yeah, it was.
That's awesome. Right, grabbing the straight purple here. Now you got me giggling. It's hard to be when I'm giggling. That was good, honey. It was pretty funny.
The inner truths come out.
I don't know what you're talking about. That was awesome. Okay, so adding some of this darker color at the bottom of some of these flowers, that'll kind of ground them to where they're disappearing down into the grass. So anywhere I feel like the flower is just kind of floating on top of the grass here, I'm going to add a little bit of this dark purple, and it'll kind of just anchor it. Let's grab that light ultramarine. So I really haven't been telling you the colors exactly, but you can kind of see I'm just switching between ultramarine blue, dioxazine purple, and the Quinacridone Magenta, and just different variations of light and dark of each of those colors. So that's all we've got going on here in these flowers. Quinacridone, purple, and blue. Magenta. Purple and blue. So adding white here. Almost out of my white. Some highlights to the side. Trying to go over the top of just kind of one side, so I'm not covering up all of that dark area, just adding a little highlight to one side of these. Really pretty. Let's grab some unbleached titanium, or light ultramarine. I call this unbleached titanium and the other light ultramarine. I don't know why. This is light ultramarine blue here. And put this over the purple and blue flowers, and then I just added white to the Quinacridone Magenta to do the highlights on the pink flowers. Alright, we're almost done. Almost done. How pretty. I might do another big one like right in here. Let's do a big blue one right here. Maybe another one way up here. There we go. So these and these are about the same height right here. All right, let's grab some white. Put a little highlight on these. Just a little. So once this dries, then you can kind of see, if you need to, you can go back in and do even more bright highlights, because the acrylics will dry darker. So you may end up having to go back in and add a little bit brighter highlights here and there. Just depends on how bright you got it the first time. You may not need it. Oh, okay. Dropping stuff. All right. Screenshot that. You might be too close in. There you go. All right. Then I want to add more greenery in the bottom, and then we'll be done, I think. I think I'm pretty happy with my waterfall. I don't think I'm going to mess with it. If anything, I might add a little bit more of the zinc white in around it, just to kind of soften up the edges, but I think we're okay. So let's grab some yellow, if I can get some clean yellow. Here, see if I can get some of this green from before. Doesn't look like it.
Somebody,
I'll grab a little bit of phthalo blue then.
somebody just popped in and say they just got notified by YouTube that you're live.
Ah, nice.
Only an hour and 45 minutes late, so
Nice, nice.
that bell's working out real well.
Jeez. Yeah.
So can you start over again for those people who are just getting
I'll
notified?
just go over everything again one more time.
Yeah.
Sorry, guys. What you might want to do is just set your own alarm, because we're pretty much on every Saturday at 2. 2 Central, and except for next weekend when we're going to be on vacation. So
Vacation.
woohoo! I'm gonna go watch video games. Yes, I'm so excited.
Video game tournament, baby.
I know. Driving 9 hours to watch video games. It's my dream vacation. It's all right. It's all about Spencer this time. I got to
Yep.
do music, so I'm happy. I got my music fix in last night, so went and saw Joywave. Actually, if you don't know them, you should look them up. They're pretty awesome. Joywave and Grandson, which was a new band that I hadn't really. I'd listened a little bit, but he was very intense. That's all I have to say about that. I liked him, but he was intense, so he's not for everybody. All right. Got the pink, yellow, and little touch of green here. I'm just going to create some little spiky leaves in amongst this, and in the foreground here, I'm going to kind of do these little. I'm not putting a lot of detail into them, but I do want to kind of do some little sort of spiky looking leaves. Get a little bit of the unbleached titanium to brighten that up. Just a little bit more even. A little bit brighter. What are you laughing at?
People are saying that you're brilliant. They don't know why they hadn't thought to set their own alarms.
All I'm saying, I don't know, it's just.
Hey, I can feel for them. I know exactly what's going. Sometimes it's the obvious stuff that we overlook. Oh, for sure. I mean, it's like, oh yeah, I guess we could do that, huh?
Hey, I have to do it. That's the only way I get anywhere on time or do anything, is I have to have, even if I had notifications, I might not be at my email, when they came in. So I have to set it on my phone, anything that I want to make sure that I don't miss, because otherwise I will forget. I'll forget the quesadilla in the next room. So that's not surprising, probably.
Yeah.
For most of you who know
And if you have one of those,
the flaming quesadilla story.
her who shall not be named, you can set alarms on there too.
Oh, that's true. Yeah. One of your, what is Pig Latin for? Rexa A, right? All right, going back in with some brighter. I'm just kind of doing the leaves all sort of poking up and out. So they're sort of they're kind of, okay. Just really the only ones that you're really seeing any detail on are these ones that are really close down to the bottom. And they're really not super well defined, and even in our picture, they're just kind of these little spiky shapes. So I'm just kind of adding a little bit of that. Make sure that you leave these dark pockets though, because if you don't, it'll just look like a big blob of green. So make sure you have all these nice dark pockets of color and these little pops of lighter color over the top and around them. And I think we are about done. What do you think, hon? Go ahead and zoom out there. Look at it. Mark's busy typing over there.
Somebody suggested text alerts.
Text alerts, yeah. We thought about actually sending out.
Okay, get your. There you go.
Sending out pictures, or send out emails to people too, just before the show. If we could ever get ourselves organized. I'm gonna add a little bit of darker right here. Ooh, super chat.
Oh yeah, we're gonna do super
chat
chats.
time. Nice. Very good.
So, I rang the bell and I'm not even ready yet here.
Uh-oh.
All right, so we have a super chat from the last show that I completely forgot. So I apologize to Carol. So on Tuesday's show, she did a super chat and said, Angela, and of course Mark, thanks for taking time out of your day to teach us how to paint.
Oh.
And they got a bunch of pictures of cicada here.
Bunch of pictures of cicadas?
Yep. Yeah, there was one out on the driveway yesterday morning when I left, so I took some pictures of it.
Oh, uh-oh, that makes the copperheads are going to be coming out because they like to eat the cicadas.
Oh.
The snakes.
And then we had a super chat from Brenda today. She says, can't think of a better way to spend my Saturday.
Aww.
Thanks for being a great teacher to me. Mark, you crazy.
I like that. That's about right.
And then Susan had a super chat. There was no message on there, but we really do appreciate your support. And, you can do super chat to support the channel. You can sign up for Patreon. The different levels on there. Again, small unmarked bills. Sent to the P.O. box.
We just finished our $5 level hydrangea. Was it last weekend? Yeah, it was last weekend. So there's a finished painting. That was for the $5 level Patreon folks. There was a 2-month one, so it was June and July. It took us 5 hours to finish it. So, but it turned out really pretty. I like.
Other ways you can support the channel is you can come over and do the dishes. People are just wondering.
Clean out my brushes.
Yeah, and the brushes. There's some yard to mow.
I do need to revamp my website. So if anybody knows how to do websites, give me a call.
Sometimes
all right, guys.
The trash needs to be taken out. I'm thinking outside the box here.
Oh my gosh, you're a mess. All right, let's let him get back to his video games, guys. Thanks for watching with us today. We really appreciate you, and we will be back on Tuesday night with a new series. We're going to be doing a floral impressionist, one each week. So there'll be 3 weeks. So there's a picture of 3 pictures with flowers, but we're going to be doing them on square canvases and focusing in on one each week. So.
Yeah, so the one picture has the 3.
Right. So we're going to do one set each week.
So you're going to do left, right, middle, left, middle,
I
right,
don't know,
middle,
I haven't
left,
decided.
right?
I don't know. It just depends on how I'm feeling that day, I guess.
Okay.
But it should be fun.
You usually start on the right, so.
Yeah, I don't know. I haven't decided yet. I'm leaving that up. We'll let it speak to me. See what I feel. But so we'll be back Tuesday. Then next Saturday we will not be on because we'll be on vacation. But then we'll be back the following Tuesday, and then finishing up that next Saturday. And then we'll start on. We've got all kinds of fun new projects going on. So I have several down in the. If you go to my channel page, click on my name or my photograph after the video, you can go to my channel page. You can see all the upcoming videos. You can see all the 200 and plus videos we've already done and watch some of those. There's all kinds of different stuff in there for all different levels. So,
and set your own alarms.
Yes. Yeah. So we'll be back Tuesday night at 6 p.m. Central, and we'll see you then. Thanks, guys. Bye.